this. I think that we might be officially going live. That's the preview, and I think we're live. Hi. Hi, everybody. I don't know how much of that you saw, because as you know, it's always a little bit of a transition, but hi, welcome to our Tuesday live here on YouTube. My name is Elena, and I'm the owner of the Witches Box, and we get together every Tuesday live here on YouTube to do an oracle pull for the week, and then also just do a witchcraft chat where we just Q&A, we talk about witchcraft, we hang out for a while. And typically I try to keep these at an hour, but as you all know, those of you who've been here before, we linger a little longer than an hour, although I'm going to try to keep it to an hour today because tonight, this is the announcement. What are we doing tonight? Tonight is the last Tuesday of the month, right? Is that true? I can't believe we're at the end of October. Tonight is the last Tuesday of the month. So tonight is a day that we do our live Witches Book Coven gathering for the Witch Book subscription. And we're going to be doing that tonight at 6. So if you are a subscriber to the Witches Books, be there tonight. We're going to do a chat on the 2 books that we read over the last month. So definitely be there. And then tomorrow, which is Wednesday, the last Wednesday of each month, barring any major holiday or anything, tomorrow night is the deep dive gathering for the October Morrigan box, where we get together and talk about the book. I mean, we talk about the box. However, the big amazing thing is that Morgan Daimler, who wrote the Morrigan book that was in that box, will be joining us for our gathering tomorrow, and I'm so excited. So that's going to be a really special deep dive gathering for the box. For those of you who aren't subscribed to either one of those, know that when you subscribe to our book box or to our regular box, you also get, and this is really where I think that the value of the box really is, even though yes, you get beautiful things and it's exciting, but the value is that at the end of the month we get together, and it's an hour, hour and a half, sometimes it's 2 hours, where we talk about the magic around the ritual of the box and the spell of the box. We go deeper into all of those aspects. Sometimes we have people come and do a teaching of their own. We've got authors that come by and talk with us. So that's where the juice, I think, of the subscription boxes is. So that's this week. Tonight is for the book box, and tomorrow is for the regular box, the deep dive gathering. For those of you who are subscribed, who did get those boxes, be there. It'll be lovely and wonderful, especially tomorrow. I'm very excited about tomorrow, and Morgan Daimler will be joining us, which is just like very, very exciting. So if you're interested in the Morrigan and you love the box and you want to learn more, she is the person to talk to about the Morrigan. So this is going to be really exciting. All right, let me take a quickie drink and let's get to it, shall we? Let's tell me who you are, if you're here, hello, and where you're dialing in from, or where dialing in, listen to me, I'm so old, where you are checking in from. I don't even know my tech language today. All right. Okay, that's my decaf latte, and then I also have my water. Those of you who watched on Instagram, we were always talking about our multiple drinks. Today's oracle pull is going to be by, or from, the same deck that we have been working with since I don't know, for the last month, because it's that season. This is the deck that we're using. I love this deck. It's super beautiful. And then when we're done with this deck, they just published their Yule themed deck. I'm going to be switching over to that because it's also just as lush and beautiful, and I love the artwork. Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz did this, and the illustration was done by Giada Rose. Really beautiful, 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 beautiful. So there's that. Because I hate to do the whole shuffling thing. I know some people love the ASMR of the whole shuffling thing. I can't do it. So I shuffled prior to us getting on, and then I have a card that I pulled from the top that I'll share with you in a second, but let me look to see what's happening in the chat. It's an interestingly slow day in general. I'm a little slow. So there you go. Rachel, hello, welcome from Kentucky. Wonderful. K Justice, welcome. I like saying K Justice as a whole thing. I don't know why. And you're from Vegas. Kathleen from Tennessee, welcome. Vanessa from Germany, welcome. And Project Refined Life. I love that name. I love the whole idea of a refined life. It's beautiful. Okay, welcome. Wonderful. So today's card is this. There we go. It's Altar. It's number 2. And I think I've said this before. I'm not going to read the little dealio that these cards come with, because for whatever reason, they just don't work for me, which, it is what it is. But the cards and the art and the theme for the card is always really powerful and beautiful. Hi, Bianca. Sorry. Hi, Bianca. Welcome. Okay, so altar, the number 2. What comes up for me for this card as a reading for us for the week is a question around discernment. What is it that you are specifically choosing to elevate to the status of sacred when you put it on your altar? Like, what are those things? How do you make that decision? What are you choosing to elevate? Sometimes there are, depending on the tradition that you may belong to, there are some very specific rules or guidelines around what your altar should look like. And a lot of us don't have that. A lot of us just create the altar as it wants to be created. How do you make that choice to elevate something, whether it's a twig or a leaf or a crystal or a candle, and elevate it to that state of sacredness to be on your altar? Where and how does that kind of impulse come from for you? That's what comes up. But the other thing that also comes up, especially because we're in this particular week in the Northern Hemisphere, we are 4 or 5 days away from Samhain in the Northern Hemisphere. It is a pretty big sacred holiday for witches, for most witches. What, as you enter into and approach this holiday, this Sabbath, what is it that you feel is most important to have on your altar during this time? And I'm going to also say this to those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, because you are approaching Beltane down in the Southern Hemisphere, which is another very powerful Sabbath. What are the things that really want to be on your altar, and how do you determine that? How do you feel that? And the oracle aspect of this reading comes into play when I ask this question: what specifically for you right now wants most to be elevated to the state of sacred in order to be worked with by you? I don't have that answer for you, but you have that answer for yourself, and that's the question of the oracle. What is it in your life right now that really wants and needs to be elevated to the state of sacred on your altar? And are you going to do that? Are you going to put it there? And how are you going to work with it? So this is the card. It's number 2. It's beautiful. And it's from this deck for those of you who've just joined us. And that's it. That's it for the oracle reading. We can certainly keep talking about this topic. Typically, what I do here is I do the oracle reading first. So if you miss it, you can always catch it on the replay, and then we just hang out and we do our talk. This is what I wanted to do that I didn't do. And this is maybe why I feel a little squirrely. I've started lighting a candle at the beginning of our live guided meditations that we do here on Friday. I'm going to start doing that here as well. I'm a little late to the game, but I'm going to light it anyway, because we're going to continue talking about all things witchcraft and spirituality, and I think it's important to kind of mark the moment. Also, this beautiful thing, this little plate, we sent this plate out with our salt magic box many months ago, and it was custom made for us, which was really lovely, but we never got enough to send out with the box because there was just issues with the vendor. So some of you who got the mystery box a couple of years ago got these little like plates that have an incantation engraved around the edge. I love them. They're so beautiful, and I'm sad that we couldn't have more made, but that is what I'm using. Let me look really quick in this chat box. Kay says, I'm actually from Southern California, but moved to Vegas at the end of 2016 to be near my family. Wonderful. Layla, hello. Rhonda, hello. From Ohio. Lilith, hello. Love that deck. It's all spot on with everything I asked. I know, it's a really good tuned in deck. I'm really excited about it too. I mean, obviously I can't get enough of it. I keep using it over and over again. And I'm looking forward to when this part of the season is over to move on to their Yule deck. It's gorgeous. I want to ask, because we are, this is a pretty intense and beautiful time of the year we're entering, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere. from Samhain all the way through to winter, we are in a really lengthened and beautiful liminal space, right? Because the year is ending, it's dying back, and we've got this gorgeous Sabbath that it's powerful, where the veils are thin, where we connect with spirits, where we connect with our dead. There's a lot of work that happens at this time of the year, and then we enter into this, like, to me it almost feels like a buffer zone. It's a nebulous place. It's very much the dark side of the moon. It's very much the complete waning of the sun. um and I'm curious about what that is for all of you, in terms of what rituals do you do? Do you do anything different? Because the challenge here is that as the energies closing in, as it's withdrawing, it's kind of pulling for all of us to withdraw and cave and go within. The world is exploding, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, especially in Western countries, with, at least in the United States, we have Thanksgiving and then we have Christmas and all that goes with it, all the commercialism, all the shopping, all the gift giving, all the visits and being with family, which is also really beautiful. Sometimes those different activities, the activity of the witch's calendar and where we are in the year, as well as what's going on externally with these holidays, can feel like a constant conflictual battle, right? For me, often it's been that way, where I just want to retreat. I want to be quiet and silent and just hibernate. But then there's all these huge activities, like let's go be with family, let's go do this and just do that. And I love that. But it seems like there's so much noise around those holidays that it can for me feel like the whole thing is at odds. The season is asking for something specific, but we've turned it into something else. So anyway, all that to say is that I'm curious. I'm curious about all of you and what you're doing and how you're planning and what this weekend is going to be like and look like for you. So let me look to see what's happening here. Okay, so Project Refine Life says, this time of year, my altar is so special for Dia de los Muertos. Beautiful. Rachel says, Lilith, I've been using that deck this month too, and I agree, it nails it every time. Summer says, hello, Summer. Lovely day, but windy in Oklahoma. Lilith says, it's amazing, to Rachel. And Jamie says, Oklahoma, we well summer. Hi, yes, so windy, but loving the cooler weather. Yes. And then Lilith says, for Samhain night, I normally like to honor my ancestors. I make dinner for them and eat with them aside to the other rituals I like to make. Beautiful. It's a big time. I'm going to be doing a couple of things. I'm going to be doing, if you start, what can be the best advice? I'm sure that you've seen it. I don't even have to give you advice about this, because all over Instagram, and I'm not as into Facebook, and so I don't see it as much. But definitely a lot of the people that I follow, either personally or through the Witches Box, there are some amazing teachers out there who are doing very cool things for this week that you can join in on. I know that Danielle Dulski is doing something. Cindy Brannon is doing something. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jason Miller is doing something through his email list. So there are quite a few really amazing teachers out there who are doing really amazing things to join for this week. I'm going to be in one of those. And so I'll be doing something Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then a ritual with someone else on Sunday, a ritual by myself on Sunday. A lot. And then I am in one of those days, I'm not going to say which, I'm going to go see the Rocky Horror Picture Show with my husband at like midnight or 11 o'clock at night or something. So there's a lot that's happening this week, and I really wish that it wasn't so much. The only thing that I'm really excited about is that these gatherings are all virtual, which has its drawbacks, but it's nice because I can be participating in something that is a group event while still kind of in a hibernative space, which I love. So that's the gist for me. For me, Samhain will be specifically working with my ancestors. My mom just passed about almost 2 months ago. Actually, no, a month and a half ago. So I will be doing work around that to kind of help usher her in. And yeah, like that. I typically also, although I don't feel called to do this year, But I may change my mind. But typically, I do my divination for the year. That work I do during Samhain. I'm not really feeling that this time, which is interesting. I'm not quite sure what that's about, other than um, I don't necessarily feel like I need to know what's coming. I'm more in a space of how do I weave the fate of what's coming and be more proactive that way. And that title comes from Aidan Wachter's book called Weaving Fates. As some of you know, I did a review on that book. Oh, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and maybe it was more than that, a month and a half ago. I don't know. In any case, that book, he talked about a particular type of magic working that I really just have taken to and I'm so excited about. And it's really helped formulate for me the how truly sovereign and how truly empowered we can be when we weave the way our future unfolds. So I think that that has something to do with the fact that I'm just not feeling called to do any divination, which is so interesting to me because it's a thing. I do it every year. Okay, let me see what's happening here. Hey, Crafting My Life. Hello, hello. Welcome to our YouTube live. Wonderful. Um, oh, Summer missed the October box. It went so fast. We didn't have that many to sell, in all fairness. But no, it was like before I even knew what was going on, I was seeing communication between Emily and Elliot like it's gone. And I'm like, what? How is it gone? What are you talking about? It was gone in minutes. This is one of the reasons why you need to be subscribed. Everybody needs to be subscribed because you don't get a guarantee. Like there are boxes in which it has been easy for me to make a lot of extra. We still have, what do we still have? We have a little, like a couple more of the Air Magic box left. We have a couple more of the Saturn box, Saturn Magic, like the Planetary Magic series that we've been doing. We have Saturn, we have Mars, which was a good box, and we have the Sun, which was really a good box as well. We still have those because at the time it was just easy to get extra. We are now, I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the news. Shipping and manufacturing has just taken a hit. It is really challenging. And man, I'm doing magic left and right, and it doesn't seem to be overthrowing the world, but I keep trying because getting the amount of things that we need just to cover our subscribers has become challenging. So to make extra of our future boxes is also a little, it's just becoming more and more challenging. It's been a thing for over a year now, but I thought that by now it would get easier. And I don't know if you watched the news, but the port of Long Beach, Los Angeles, which is like the third largest port in the world and supplies, I think, over 50% of the supplies to the entire country of the United States. The backup of ships that are just idling, languishing in the ocean is kind of unreal. My husband sends me this link all the time, but it's like a real-time maritime navigation so that when you look at this map, it shows you all of the ships that are everywhere in the world in the ocean. And outside of those ports, it's like a straight up Disneyland parking lot of massive cargo ships. And they're not moving. They're just waiting. We can't take any more things in. And so shipping is hard. Because of that, also manufacturing is taking a hit. It's really interesting. All that to say that subscribe because I don't know for month to month how many more extra boxes I can make to sell them as single purchases. Sometimes I can make a lot, and sometimes, like with the Morgan box, we had like a couple of handfuls, and that was it, and then they were gone. I mean, that was probably our fastest sellout to date. It was minutes. It was cool, but then it was sad because there were so many of you who wanted the Morgan box. Anyway, let me look at what's going on here. Mia Love says, my husband's birthday is the day after Halloween, so we're celebrating Samhain and his birthday starting on Friday. Oh, wonderful. That's beautiful. Butterfly Love Child, love the name, says, it's been more subdued this year than usual for me. I'm just not feeling called to do any specific work, but I'm not against it if the mood changes. Yeah, and that happens. That's totally great. Project Refine Life, trick or treating, and a small Samhain ritual and set intentions for the next year. Then November 1st, I start my daily Dia de los Muertos celebration and meditations for ancestral work. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Butterfly, you just brought something up to my memory. I mean, half memory, because I'm trying to remember the book. I think, actually, I do remember now. I think it was Rachel Henderson who wrote Scent of Lemon and Rosemary, and which is a beautiful book. I have a review on BookTube if you want to check it out to see if you want the book or not. But we sold out of those, but you can get them everywhere. Excuse me. It's a beautiful book, and in that book, she talks about something that I think was so important because yes, it was so intuitively a yes. Of course, it's common sense, but it's not. And she talks about taking your own personal life and seeing which holidays or which points of the year do you just naturally want to celebrate and make that your own personal wheel of the year. We don't have to celebrate any of these Sabbats. We can celebrate one and not the others. We can celebrate one year, and if we don't feel it the next year, we don't. There is this idea in common public witchcraft life in conversation where it's like, this is the wheel of the year, and you have to do this, this, and this. 8 Sabbats a year. You have to do something for each one. You have to have process around that. No, not really. If you aren't called to do something on a Sabbat, the beauty of this path is that you go with what you feel. You go by your intuitive pull. If you're not feeling it, it may very well be that the most beautiful, most sacred, most powerful celebration of that point of the year is that you just take some time for yourself, right? I loved that she encouraged people to just create their own path. There are years where I don't do anything for most of the Sabbats. I always do something for Samhain. And I always do something interestingly for the winter solstice. Those are my big ones. And then second to those two, Bridget is always a special one for me because it's an initiation, it's a start. I tend to do things a little differently. Most witches feel that the witch's new year is Samhain. I don't feel that at all. That's not my gig. I think that the new year for me is winter solstice. That's when it starts for me because I go by the sun and the sun's rebirthed at that time. But Bridget is just close enough to that where it's like, this is where I kind of solidify. This is what I'm going for this year. These are the things that I'm sacredly initiating. So there's that. And then on occasion, third or fourth to those, Beltane. Those are the ones that I do the most work at. And those are the ones that I most consistently celebrate and ritual around. You don't have to do all of them. And it's important to check in with what is authentic to you, what is intuitively authentic to you to celebrate and which ones aren't. And then not have a whole lot of noise about that. Even though the world says, oh, you're going to do all 8. You don't have to do all 8. Let me see. Okay, Lilith says, we received a letter from the post office saying that they were very delayed because they are short of manpower. That's also the issue. So everything is taking longer. They suggest us not to pay bills through the mail. Yeah, well, I can't remember the last time I paid anything through the mail because I can't handle and manage paper. But yes, also that is the other part of the issue is that people are just so low on workforce that, there's a lot and it's kicking like how do you say it? It's like a domino effect. One thing affects the other, affects the other, affects the other. And so a lot of different industries are just being super affected. Hold on. Crafting My Life says it's going to be a Hugo Samhain here. Hugo? What does that mean? Is it huge? Hugo? Waiting for both October box and big mystery box. Oh, you're gonna get a lot. And TWB is coming to Rome. Oh, I love that. I'm so excited. I'm pretty sure that all of the mystery boxes have already been shipped out. If you're in Italy, it's gonna take a little while to get to you. Although there are, I think, 3 or 4 more boxes that need to be labeled and sent out today. But those are for the people who bought them at the very, very end of the sale. So 98% of them are out and moving towards you in the world. And Crafting My Life says, this is my first time with your boxes and I'm thrilled to bring some of your craft and wisdom in my sacred space. I'm so excited. Welcome. Yes, welcome. So the mystery boxes are just a bunch of whatever we have left over and some extra other things in our workshop at the end of each year, although sometimes we'll do it twice a year depending on how much we've accumulated. And the October box is the Morgan. We were able to get beautiful real crow feathers that were ethically and legally collected in England, not in the United States, because it's not legal in the United States to do that. and those are really beautiful. They have a really good energy to them. The Morrigan book is in that box. We've got the gorgeous, gorgeous Murder of Crow Tarot. It's a gorgeous deck. It's one of my favorite. I mean, they're all my favorite boxes, but it's one of my favorites, I gotta say. Bianca says, I feel like you are like that cool and wise Thea. Oh, I know what a Thea, girl, I know what a Thea is. I am a Thea. Thea's aunt, for those of you who don't speak Spanish. I'm enjoying a lot the space to learn from you. I'm so glad. We love you so much. No, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. My mascara will run. Thank you. I appreciate it. My best friend Tree, who's also our graphic designer, Atrina Charles, but we call her Tree. She had her baby is the love of my life, and so she made me a Thea. She calls me Thea, Thea Elena, and it's like the best thing, the best title. It always makes me so happy, and I always feel like, oh, I gotta live with her because she is now the love of my life. So yes, I know what I am a Thea. I'm a total Thea. I take that title with complete and utter pride. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Pam, for the hair. Yeah, this is, look, I mean, it's kind of, it looks dirty and weird because we've got these weird like striations and it almost looks like my hair is floating on my head. But right, it'll be 3 months since I last dyed it. November 8th. August 8th was the last time I dyed it. Let me see. Lila says, I don't celebrate most of the Sabbats. The most I celebrate is Samhain. Yeah. Layla says, I'm part of a Finnish Facebook group where there's a woman who made an oracle deck. She is wondering whether to publish it in English also. Do you have any pointers or insights to the process? I don't. Not to the process of the create. Like, I know that you can self-publish or you can publish with a publisher who has better distribution. If your friend has a following online already so that they can get sold, because technically you make something, you want people to, partake in it. If they've got a following already, then publishing themselves and creating it themselves works really well. I don't know what prices are for publishing and doing things like that in Finland. However, Alibaba.com is, I think they're out of Singapore. I don't think they're out of China. But they have several people, several printers that will do and create tarot decks or oracle decks for you. And they have the whole system set up. So they walk you through the design of the box, the card, the shape of the card, all of that. For self-publishing, you have to put the money up front. You pay for the whole thing up front, and then you have to sell. Right now, I mean, Llewellyn is publishing oracle decks. Who else publishes oracle decks? Llewellyn. Hay House also does oracle decks. I don't know if any of the big publishers would be open to publishing oracle deck from someone unless they have a following already. But for something like an oracle deck, actually, I don't know. I was going to say for something like an oracle deck, I think it might be better to go with an actual publishing house that can distribute for you, because space is also an issue. Where are you going to house all that? However, I know of quite a few people who started out self-publishing and then got huge. So it just depends. It really just depends on the circumstance and how much work they're willing to do. But English is always going to reach a much broader audience. So there's that to consider, right? Because English is spoken probably in a lot of ways all over the world, even if it's not native to that country. So you can actually spread the deck, right, much further than if it was in Finnish. Tanny Taylor says, which do you mean by Bridget? So Bridget is February 1st. It's also called Candlemas or St. Bridget's. February 1st in the Northern Hemisphere. Crap. August 1st in the Southern Hemisphere. I always have a hard time remembering the dates. Okay. Okay, says, I'm not being guided to do anything specific. I plan on honoring my parents and grandparents for Dia de los Muertos. Beautiful. Um, Lila says, like a domino effect. Yes. Yes, thank you. Camilla, hello. Sorry, I just arrived. What's the tarot card for today? I will show you the tarot card. It was an oracle card, and it was this one, Altar. Ooh. So you can watch the reading on the replay. And Pamela says, yes, the only custom items I'm creating are going to have to be with supplies I have in stock. The postal import situation is affecting everything. It's real. It's real. I should probably say this as an announcement now. I thought this, I mean, every time I say this and think this, it doesn't happen. So I don't know why I keep saying this. But I thought, oh, the November box, boom, we're going to have everything early because everything is done. It's already, no. I have the beautiful part of this next month's box is held up. And even though I paid a lot of extra money to have it flown here as opposed to on a ship, it's stuck at a port. And I don't know what I'm going to do. So the November box may be a little late, as they've all been because of the situation. So there's that. Although the books for November are going out tomorrow. They're going out early. So those of you who are subscribed to the book subscription, those are going out tomorrow. You'll have those before the month starts, which is great because the publishers that I'm working with are here domestic. So it's easy to get my my books delivered. Crafting My Life says, yes, Hugo as was huge. I just checked out the October box has just arrived in Italy, so I think I will be able to do some divination with the. Oh, wonderful! Oh, good. I'm glad. Oh, good. Thank God that it got to you. Although we're almost at the end of the month, girl. You know. Pam says, I am letting my hair do that as well, but I removed the black because it was too tempting to color again. Yeah, Pam, I consider doing that, right? Because you strip the color and then you've got to bleach it and then you got to color correct and then you got to color it. My hair is pretty thin. And I'm pretty hard on my hair. I'm always curling and there's just breakage and it's dry, so I have to constantly condition it. So I decided not to do that because I was afraid that if I did that to my hair, it would just completely just burn it all off. And because I'm now obsessed with a bunch of Instagram accounts of women who are also going natural and a couple of groups on Facebook. And there are a lot of women out there who once it's past, like once the hair is grown out to like here, there's something kind of cool about the dual tone that I'm like really looking forward to. So this is a hard part because this is like, oh my God, what is happening? But once it gets down here, I'm kind of excited about what that like gray and then black will look like. It kind of feels like it's going to be fun. Project Refined Life says to Layla, make playing cards might work for her. Yeah, definitely. Crafting My Life says, if you're interested into working with the Wheel of the Year in a deeper and more personal way, there are a couple of books by Jane Meredith. Oh God, I know. We love her forever, which are just exquisite. Which books on the Wheel of the Year for Jane Meredith? I'm trying to think. Yeah, let me know what those titles are because I can't think of which ones those would be. But the other really great book with the Wheel of the Year that's really deep work is by Tiffany Lazic. Lazic, which is called The Great Work. Holy cow. Homegirl just blew the doors off the hinges with this book. She took the Wheel of the Year and what she did, we sent her book out with the book subscription maybe last year. I don't remember exactly when we sent it out. And she participated. She came and joined us for our live talk, which was amazing. She has an entire system that she's created around working with the Wheel of the Year that's so multi-layered. You could take this book and work with all of the different layers of what she wove into this book for the rest of your life. It's that good, it's that detailed, it's that in depth, and a lot of it is very focused on your own internal transformation and a lot of internal inquiry, as well as celebrating the seasonal changes. So it's very deep in terms of the internal work, but it was phenomenal. And I still can't get my head around how she wove all of these different threads together and all these, it's just I can't say enough about it. And it's been over a year, and it's a book that you would definitely work with for the rest of your life. So I'd highly recommend it. It's called The Great Work by Tiffany Lasik. And she's actually coming out with a new book sometime in the spring, if I'm not mistaken, which is exciting. Pam says, I have a tarot deck I backed on. Oh, I have a tarot deck that I backed on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is another great way to do this. That is finally getting mailed to me on Monday. It was stuck in Long Beach for a long time. Oh my God, I know. It finally made its way to New Jersey to ship. I mean, we maybe needed to start doing some collective magic for this stuff to like unbottleneck, because it's madness. I, as some of you know, that I went on, I think the first week of October, I took a week off and I flew to Mexico. So I flew out of Los Angeles down south into Tulum or Cancun, and flying over the port of Los Angeles and that part of the ocean, the beach and the whole thing, the amount of ships, I saw the amount of ships. It was unreal. It's a parking lot of massive container ships. And then all you see is like these little, power boats or motor boats or whatever that are coming to and from all those ships because they're stuck out there. So I think either they're taking food and supplies to them, or they're taking people off the ships to the mainland to have a minute. But it was like this traffic of back and forth from the ships to the shore while these ships just sat there. And since then, since the beginning of October, those numbers have only doubled. I mean, it's wild. It's so wild. Okay, so Bianca says, what are going to be the books? The books. Remember when I think it was September we had Ivo Dominguez Jr. and those two books? We've chosen two more of his books. So it's Keys to Perception, which is an amazing book on developing your psychic skills and your perception skills. And the other one, because of the season, because of where we're at in this time of the year, the other book is Speaking to Spirits, or Spirit Speaks. It's about working with ancestors. It's about working with other spirits and other entities. So both books are amazing. As if you were there for the first two books that we read by him. Oh, God, I'm trying to think of the names of the books. I'm a blank slate today, let me tell you. So his books are always deeply detailed and intensive, and I really love just how much information he puts in these books. The next two books that we're doing so for November are really amazing. I'm not quite sure if we've asked him yet to join us. We're going to ask him to join us at the end of the month. Hopefully he'll be able to do that for another round of questions and answers, because he's awesome. He's just so awesome. Crafting My Life. Did you retract or did we? Because YouTube seems to have a little bit of a mind of its own. Rachel says, I just got The Great Work 2 days ago. Thanks for your rec. Not sure if I want to dive in right away or wait until the first of the year. It's a lot. It's a lot. And when I sent the book out to everyone, I recommended that everyone just start at the season that they were. And if it felt like too much, just stay in that section and not read the whole book. I read the whole thing all the way through. I don't recommend that. I mean, you can. It's a lot. It's a lot to absorb. It can work really well if you literally get the book and just turn to where you are on the calendar and start there. However, definitely read, and I don't remember now because it's been a minute since I've opened the book and read it, but I definitely read the introduction, and there are maybe 1 or 2 chapters at the very beginning that explain the system that she's created. Read that and then jump to where you are on the calendar. Really powerful. Oh, and Project Refine Life says, The Great Work is amazing. I did a year-long study with a group of women. Oh, that's a great book too to do with a group. Oh my God, for sure. Jamie, Rituals of Celebration, Honoring the Seasons of Life Through the Wheel of the Year by Jane Meredith. Oh my God, I don't even have that book. How do I not have that book? Where's a pen? Jane, Wheel of the Year. Hold on. Lily says, speak to, what's the name of the book? Oh, well, I tell you, if I had them near me, and I can't believe I don't remember, but I think it's Speaking to Spirits by Ivo Dominguez Jr. Yeah, or Spirit Speak. Thank you, Butterfly. I only just read the book and packaged the book, although I read the book several months ago. Um, the book starts December 21st. Go week by week. Yeah, wonderful. I also have the great work, and I'm waiting for Yule to start that work. Beautiful. Yeah, 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 yeah. I am. I'm a little torn. There are a couple of books. Jane Meredith. Well, that's not true of that book, although that's a great book. Jane Meredith, Working with the Dark Goddess. That book. Or the Dark Goddess book that she wrote is great for this time of the year to do that ritual at the end of the year. However, what I'm thinking about is Danielle Dulsky's Season of Moon and Flame is a great book to dedicate an entire year to because she's got a whole year's worth of work there. Um, the book that we're talking about, The Great Work, is also a great book to dedicate a whole year for because it's set up that way. What other books are good for that? No, I feel like I'm missing one. There's a third one. I'm trying to remember if the other Danielle Dulsky book also does a whole year's worth of work. Oh, Cindy Brannon, if you are called by Hecate, Cindy Brannon's Keeping Her Keys or Keeper of Her Keys. I don't remember the name of the book now. That is a 13-month journey. So you can also use that book as a dedication for the year. So there are really good books out there. If you wanted to do a specific guided work for a year to do a deep dive in, those are all great to like check out. Um, I'm debating if I want to do that or not because I have a bunch of other things that I want to get done, and I'm also got a couple of other practices that I'm committed to, but the Danielle Dulsky book really calls to me a lot of really Seasons of the Soul. Pam, I don't know that book, Seasons of the Soul. Seasons of the Soul. No, I did because Jamie has already posted the title. Okay. Project Refine Life says, Elena, would you consider doing a year-long study group? I am considering doing a year-long study group, but I'm not sure if it's a year or if it's an ongoing. I'm not sure the format. I have a pretty extensive outline that I've been playing with for a while. I had this fantasy that I would be able to launch that earlier this year. It just didn't happen. And I still don't know what the best way to deliver that would be, only because there's so much to cover. And I feel like, does it make sense to just have an ongoing open-ended study where we do each year has a specific theme and then each month has a more detailed theme? Or is it just better to do, here's a year's worth of something to do in a very specific way or under a very specific umbrella and make it a complete thing? I don't know. I get really stuck on the way to deliver because it's not just the creation. If all I did in my life was just create and not worry about the admin and the back end of the website and the accounting and, all of that, I would probably get like about 10 times more done in my life. So I'm still thinking about it. And for a very, very long time, all of you and Elliot and Tree have been pushing and pushing and pushing. Like, we need to do live retreats. We need to do live gatherings. And in the beginning I was like, no, I'm never going to do that. I can't do that. It's just not my thing. I think it's better when we have, this entire group gathering as opposed to smaller groups. And I have been slowly changing my mind about that. To the point where I thought, oh my God, wouldn't it be great if next year we had like a little retreat? But the logistics of that take a lot of work, and I think that we still need to structure things a little differently at the Witches Box in order to make that happen. So all of that to say is that I'm getting there. It's just I'm slow rolling. I'm rolling really slow. I think that's the name. I'm not sure. I'll check it out, Pam. It sounds good, but I don't know that that's the name of the book that I was thinking. I do need an assistant. Well, listen, I need a lot of things. We are a small team, and the team is amazing, and they're all overworked, which is awful. And Yeah, I have long dreamed of having a personal assistant to just manage all of the extra stuff so that I can focus a little bit more. But one day. The structure and designing the shape. I'm confused. Oh, because I skipped a couple things. Lila says maybe you can divide it by semester or trimesters. Yeah, the structure and designing the shape. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Holy Wild is the Holy Wild. Yes, Pam. And I think Holy Wild also gives you thank you. Holy Wild by Danielle Dulski also I think gives you a format for an entire year's worth of work. Um I'm just gonna riff a little bit and let's have a conversation and you guys can throw out some ideas. For a year long intensive or study, there are things that I've considered, like dedicating an entire year to a deity and doing intensive deity work for a year so that even if this is not a deity that you choose to work with for the long haul, you have an experience of what a deep dive commitment to a deity would look like with very specific rituals and different things that you could do throughout the year to deepen that work and intimacy and awareness and knowledge and wisdom of that deity so that you can take that formula and do it with another deity on your own later. That was an idea that has come up that kind of keeps coming back that I've have notes about. There's also the idea around working a whole year on spellcraft in general. So what is spellcraft? What are the energetics involved? What do you want to consider? What are the different types of spellcraft? How do you hone your own particular spell like language, right? Because some of us are predisposed or feel more comfortable working one way as opposed to the other. There's so many different ways to cast a spell that it makes sense that you're going to have an affinity towards one way more so than another. So there's an idea. And then there are the things that I really want to get into that I don't know how to package. Like, what is your identity as a witch and what does that mean? How do you dive into true sovereignty and how do you develop that over time? And what does that bring up for you to heal? Like things that are a little bit more esoteric, a little bit more psychology minded that I don't know that anyone's really interested in, but that's where my juice is, right? That's where I really love to go. Things like that, an ethics class around witchcraft that isn't necessarily what you think it is. So there's just a lot. And then because this is part of my own history and my makings and what's close to my heart, but doing a blood mysteries group for people who bleed, who've had wombs or who no longer have a womb but did, and what that can be. I know a lot in that arena. It's again part of my makings. It's one of the things that I first started to learn early on, and I would love to go back to that at some point. But because that is also then much more of a specific demographic, it's not for everybody. So, I don't know. I'm just like, now I'm just talking out loud. I know Crafting My Life says, I love the way all the book titles jumbled together in Elena's head. We could write an entire book using the new combinations she creates every time we ask her. I know. This is a problem because everyone wants to know what I think. And it's like, I don't even remember what I was reading yesterday because there's so many. And I feel like, is that me? Or do other people have that experience? Or is it just that I have some sort of memory deficiency where I just can't? I can't. And I keep saying to myself, I'm going to create a whole like index list so that I can just have it with me and go through and read them whenever you all ask me. But who's got time for that? See, that would be a great thing for like an assistant to put together. Oh, I like that. Like a little VA that I can hire on the side. That might be a thing to do because I swear to you, I forget. I'm a hot mess of titles and books and I don't know who. Okay. Lila says, my bad. The message got sent before I finished what I was writing. Klesha or Klesha's Corner. Welcome. Yes. Spell crafting is what I need knowledge about. Yes. Okay, good to know. Pam says, my cousin and I did a year study of Holy Wild. It's great for focus on specific feminine deities and learning about yourself. Beautiful. I love her. She's got some cool shit going on over in her website. I just got an email from her, her newsletter. And if I'm not mistaken, she's got something going on for this weekend that people can join in and participate in. I would highly recommend checking out Danielle Dolsky's website. I believe it's thehagschool.com. But yeah, I mean, please, she's amazing. Lilith says, as an Hispanic, my deities are bilingual. I start my rituals in English and add some Spanish and so on. Yeah, yeah, of course. Hi, I know what you're talking about. Abby says, I'm pretty sure my entire bookshelf is compiled with recommendations from you. I buy books like I'm immortal. I know. Oh my God, that's the best line ever, Abby. I love it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had a little bit of a not a meltdown, a tantrum of sorts today because I came into my office and my office is the most neglected space ever because I'm either in the workshop arranging things and rearranging things because we're running out of room, and so it's a constant movement of stuff that when I come in here I just can't be bothered to move another piece of furniture or another thing, and so I focus on my desk and try not to look behind me or on the floor because the stacks of books are out of control. All that to say is that I think I've talked about this. I know that I've talked about this before in the booktube videos where I'm kind of 90% mood reader where I just grab whatever is calling to me. But I temper that a little bit with what should I be reading for the book subscription, like 2, 3, 4, 5 months ahead of schedule so that I can plan and then also see if the publishers have the amounts that we need and all those things. So there is some intentionality behind some of the books that I choose to read because I'm looking for what's going to make sense for us as a group and the subscription. But today I came in here and there is I'm looking at them because I put them on a special shelf because if not, I'm going to lose them. I'm trying to rearrange in my mind how I'm going to put my furniture so I can have just stacks of books on the floor that are like to be read pile, do a video on this book, all these things. In any case, there is a series of books that I have been wanting to just read and dive into, but they don't work for BookTube and they don't necessarily work for the book subscription. So if I'm in this, if I read those books, I'm not going to be talking about any new books for months, which is a problem. So I had a little bit of a tantrum, like I want to take another vacation. So all I do is just read and then forget what I read. Like I just, the issues. Okay. I'm pretty, and crafting can help with wounds, right? Wait. Klesha's Corner says, and crafting can help with wounds, right? Crafting spellwork class. Yes. At least the way I do it, for sure. Everything, there are a couple of new people here, so let me take an opportunity to say a couple things. My intention with the Witches box was to use, there were multiple intentions, but the biggest intention was to facilitate every witch's growth spiritually and to make it in such a way where we're not a particular tradition. I try to find themes and boxes and do things with the box where even if you are part of a very specific tradition, you can take what I've sent you and mold it to what it needs to be for your tradition, but you can still do it, right? All of that said, in general, for the most part, even though it doesn't look like it on the surface, I'm always my undercover secret, but not so secret intention is to facilitate your witchcraft deepening in a way that is very specifically about personal transformation and personal healing. It's not necessarily always that obvious, but that is the through line with everything I do because it's part of my origins. It's I'm my undergrad was in social work and in psychology. My witchcraft, when I learned it, when I first came to witchcraft in the mid 90s, so much of it had to do with healing and how do we whole ourselves again or reintegrate those fragmented parts of ourselves again as a way to be a more sovereign and empowered witch in the world. So everything that you get from me is going to always have that little thread somewhere, even if it's not obvious. Just trust that it's kind of snuck in there anyway, not because I'm trying to be shady or trying to be manipulative or sneaky, but it's just how I think. So in terms of having a class on spellcraft, that will absolutely be at the foundation of all we do. about healing wounds, because until we are aware of what our wounds are and start tending to our wounds, they will drive us in very unconscious ways. And that affects everything you do, your work life, your relationship life, your family life, your witchcraft life. It affects everything. So we always have to come back to center. We have to come back within and continue to do that personal work. So that was a long way of telling you that, yes, wounds for sure. Those sound all good. Maybe make a school with a curriculum that takes many years. Yes, that was Layla. That was the original idea, but it started to feel overwhelming. And then this is just boring stuff. It wouldn't be called the Witches Box. It would be called something else. And then how do I integrate both of those things together on the same website, separate website? Like, you don't want to hear about all that, but those kind of architectural concerns and issues, because they're going to require a lot of planning and working, it tends to get in my way, so that it's hard for me to go deep and just create the content, because that's all happening in my head. And I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I've had some coaching around this. I'm trying to get it together so I can prioritize and find ways to really hyper focus and not get caught up in the admin stuff, right? This is like part of the challenge around being an entrepreneur, particularly when it's like a soul driven business, because those things are still there. They don't go away. It's not all witchcraft and spells. It's like, accounting and, it's all the things. There are some hearts and some laughter. I love when you're all talking to each other. Godhead, not good head. Cute. I hope, Klesha, that I'm saying your name right. I keep coming back here because I learned so much. I appreciate your knowledge. You're welcome. And I appreciate that you show up. So wonderful. All right. Tell me if there are any other questions or thoughts. I don't think that I have any announcements right now, other than that tonight is the Witches Box Live, the Witches Book Coven Gathering. So that's tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time for those of you who are subscribed to the books or who bought the single sale book box. You get a link to that as well. And then tomorrow's a deep dive gathering for the October Morrigan box, and Morgan Daimler is going to be joining us, which is super exciting. Those of you who are going to be there, bring your questions about the Morrigan and your experiences. Like, this is an amazing opportunity to learn from a pretty amazing teacher and knowledgeable person. So it's really very exciting. Christopher Penchak could not be with us tonight, so it'll be just our intimate group. So tonight, for those of you who read those books, bring your questions and bring your thoughts, and we'll talk about money, and we'll talk about protection magic, which was part of those two books. What else? Okay, I'm going to start plugging this early. For the books of December 2021, I'm so excited about this. I'm kind of like, I feel foolish, like a little girl. The two books that we're going to be sending out for the December box are an activity book of sorts. They're super witchy, they're super cool, and they're super relevant to what I feel is the season in the Northern Hemisphere, because we're going to be in winter or approaching winter. So I'm probably going to have to do a reveal of what those books are to get people like clear about what we're going to do. But basically, we're going to do like a sewing, knitting, circle, witch book live gathering where we're going to hopefully weave our spells into either charm bags that we're making or things that we're knitting while we talk to these authors of these two amazing books. It's just going to be fun, and it's going to be like an added layer of goodness to our book gathering. But if you are not subscribed and you want to be in on the winter fun, where we're just going to be a gathering of witches doing crafty things while we talk about witchcraft, you need to subscribe to the book subscription before November 15th. Is that true? Yes, that's true. Right? That's true? Yes. So before November 15th, you need to subscribe to the Witches book subscription in order to be in on the December fun. You're going to be seeing more about this on social media and all the things. But I'm excited because it just feels like we're going to hang out like friends, and we're going to like do fun things while we talk about magic and witchcraft with hopefully both authors, which I'm excited about. So like that. I think that that is the only other announcement that I have. I felt like there was something else that I wanted to say, but now I don't remember. The mystery boxes are sold out. We still have a few more of the mystery herb boxes left from this batch. We will make a new batch of mystery herb boxes to restock your pantry with in the next few months, I think. So it'll be another few months before we do that again. There are a few of those left, so you can grab those on the website. And is there anything else? Well, and we have Samhain at the end of the week. So there's that. Oh, and the dark moon rituals, the dark moon in Libra rituals for the moon ritual coven will be going live soon. If you're not participating in that, you can also check that out over on the website. Moon ritual coven, where I send you rituals, a solo ritual and a group ritual for each of the new moon, full moon, and dark moon of each month. That's going on as well. And the dark moon around Samhain is always a really powerful one. So there's that. Carolyn says, I have heard you passionately speak before on the Witches Box about us learning and evolving and healing. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's what the whole purpose was. And I mean, yeah, I said this before. The subscription model was really a way, that was a business choice in a lot of ways, because it was a way to get money in the door quickly without taking out loans, without, you know, taking on partners. But it was never supposed to be the whole thing, right? And so very slowly, I think that the Moon Ritual Coven is the next, like, a step further into doing things that are much more ritual and spell work and spiritually related. The box is that for sure, but the something like the Moon Ritual Coven is really just about, let's practice, and these are tools to help you practice on a much more regular basis, because a lot of people are busy, a lot of people don't even know how to create a practice for themselves, and following 3 phases of the moon each month is an easy structure. So that's that. And then the next incarnation would be classes that would take us a little bit deeper into each of these skills and each of these types of witchcraft aspects. But on top of that, having a school or having a long-term, let's deep dive for the long haul has always been the dream. And then I'm starting to think about things like, do we do yearly initiations? Do we do yearly gatherings where we are in the same space together? Because I think that, yeah, we can do a lot online, certainly, and it's powerful, but there's something also beautiful about being together and really feeling and creating that energy together in real space like that. I can talk about this forever. I think about it every single day. This is one of the things that is constantly going on in my mind. So like that. So this is, for those of you, we had a few new people join us at the last part of this live. For those of you who are new, who just joined, we're about to close. However, we do this every Tuesday, 1 o'clock Pacific time, where we get together. I do an oracle reading for the week, and then we just do a witchcraft live chat. We talk about witchcraft and all sorts of things. So join us next week, but you can also catch this on the replay. Kim says, healing is the number one thing that I have learned as being a witch. Regardless of what path I follow, it always starts with healing. The rest will fall into place once we have healed within. Yeah, absolutely. I believe that too. And I mean, it's definitely a lifelong path. But it has to start there. And then this is the thing, and then I'll close down. I'll say this and then I'll get out of here. When you heal yourself, when you work on your personal healing, it's not just you. Everybody around you is affected by that. The world is affected by that. Your ancestral lineage is affected by that. So it's never just you. It can feel that way because we really have to focus within. We're focusing on our own stuff. A lot of people poo-poo it and say, well, it's a lot of navel gazing. It's like, no, it's actually responsible work. Right? Because the more you excavate those parts of yourselves that are wounded, that are in the shadow, the freer and more liberated you are. But necessarily, energetically, everyone and everything around you will actually be affected for the better. It may not always feel for the better, because when you start to heal in a family system that's dysfunctional, it can get super tumultuous because the system doesn't like the change, right? So it can feel like it's not a liberating, wonderful thing, but it is. And it affects everyone. Whether it looks like it's a positive effect or a negative effect is irrelevant. It is a liberating effect that will reverberate back in your lineage and forward into your lineage. So to me, that is at the heart of witchcraft because, again, and I've said this a million times, I'm like a broken record. For me, witchcraft is a spirituality of connection, regardless of your tradition. You're connecting. You have to connect to the unseen. You have to connect to yourself. You have to connect with entities that you're working with or other people that you're working with. And it's that connection line that can be unhealthy or healthy, depending on how much work we've done with those things and with ourselves. So there's a whole world that we can dive into with that. Okay, let me see, because there's more talking. Rhonda says, kindly remember the crones. Yes, as we move forward and honor the crones. We have crones in our lives to be honored and venerated, whether they're living or not, for sure. Crafting My Life says, unfortunately, due to the time difference, I won't be able to attend the Morgan meeting live in Italy. It will be around 3 a.m. I know. It's always hard for everyone in Europe. And I would risk to look like a male version of the nun from The Conjuring. That's funny. Oh my goodness, but I think I will be able to access a recording. Yes, you'll definitely get a link to the recording. For those of you, let me just say this because this is important to say. I just read my notes from an email that someone sent a while back and something that someone said in one of these lives. When you participate in those lives, you get an invite right through your email, so you have that link, and then you get another email with the link to the recording after the fact. However, if those get lost and you don't get it, you can always go to the forum. Only, this is the catch, only if you're subscribed. You can only go to the forum. You can always go to the forum, and there's a thread there that always will have the link to the recording for that month. So there's a thread that has all of the links listed. So if you feel like I didn't get a link, where's the link? Go to the forum, go to the thread for the links, and you'll see all of the links that we've ever had of all of the recordings that we've ever had for the box and for the books. So you can always get those links there. We have been inconsistent, unfortunately, about posting the link in the specific thread for that box or those books, but we're going to get better at doing that. So we'll have it in two places. We'll have it in that thread for the links in the forum, but we'll also start putting it in the specific thread for that box as well. Because I know that sometimes with emails, it's like it gets lost or it goes into spam or I didn't get it or whatever. You can always go there and you access those with your login. Okay, I needed to say that because I forgot. I needed to say that I think a couple weeks ago and I completely didn't say it. I think that's it. Kay says, thank you so much, Elena. I love you, beautiful God. Thank you. Yeah, I love all of you too. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for doing these. These are like my favorite parts of the week. On Friday is also one of my favorite things. So on Friday, we're doing our live guided meditation on ancestors here at 10 a.m. It's earlier, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So it's our live guided meditation on Friday. And that's the only, this is a pretty big week. We have a lot going on this week. So this, and then tonight, and then tomorrow night, and then Friday, a whole week of live gatherings. So take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend if I don't see you. May your work be powerful and transformative or incredibly restful and uneventful, because those are great too. And you know where we are. We're here and we are on social media, and just reach out to us as you need. And if you have issues with your box or your accounts, go to info@thewitchesbox.com. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to start saying this everywhere because there's been a lot of confusion. We're the Witches Box, right? That's the name of the business. We're doing business as the Witches Box, but the name of our business, like the umbrella business, is Elevated Media. I say that because a lot of you are getting your like bills and you're like, who the hell is Elevated Media? What is, who are they taking money out of my account? It's us. So if you saw Elevated Media on your statement, you've been seeing it this whole time, and we send out, there's like terms of service and it's all over the internet, but people miss it. If you see it on your bill, just know it's us. We're Elevated Media, the Witches Box. Because there's been some confusion, and someone just not of any fault or any shade, but someone did a fraud alert on their account because they're like, who is this person? It's like, hi, it's us. You've been subscribed for like 100 years. So we are Elevated Media as well as the Witch's Box. Okay, that's it. Love you all. Take care. Be wonderful. Be magical, and have a wonderful Samhain. I'm looking for my button. And if you need anything, post questions and things here in the content or the comment box. Oh my God, what is going on with me? I think I may need some caffeine today. Take care, everybody. Bye.